Well, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, this amendment's a really simple amendment. You know, we've gotten a lot of federal assistance over the last year to fight back from the pandemic, and we are getting more. The American Rescue Plan, thanks President Biden and congressional Democrats and our members of the United States Senate. We have the American Rescue Plan, and Iowa's going to get $1.4 billion that's going to be available to the executive branch, that is the governor, to oversee and spend that money, much like she did with the CARES Act, the $1.25 billion that we've mostly been spent. And by and large, I think the governor did a decent job with most of that money. Not every. I didn't agree with everything she decided to spend it on, but the legislature really hasn't had any role in that. And this amendment, though, would provide at least information about the next round of spending that will begin with the American Rescue Plan. And so this amendment does 5 simple things. The first operation, basically, we currently have on the books this thing where state elected officials can't use state money to do self-promotion, right? You can't run TV commercials promoting some state policy with your face on them. So we think we shouldn't use this $1.4 billion for any state elected official to self-promote. Current law. Second thing it does is the Department of Management would provide a detailed list of expenditures to the General Assembly. How's the money being spent? People might have tried to track this a little bit last year, and I had repeated calls with the Legislative Service Agency, which provides information to us, and they were tracking these expenditures basically through the press releases that the governor sent out about the next thing she decided to spend money on. So they were kind of scrambling to put together, like you'd say, well, how much money has been spent? What's it been spent on? How much is left? It was about impossible for the Legislative Service Agency, the professionals that work for us, to track it. So I think people want to know how this federal money is being spent. We'd get a detailed list of that. Department of Management, third thing, would notify the General Assembly of any contracts with private entities. Governor entered into a bunch of private contracts. We should at least be noticed on those. The fourth thing it does is that no state agency will be able to spend more than $3 million of this money without legislative council approval. And the final thing, and I think we can all support this, is that the same competitive bidding process for contracts that currently is on the books for state dollars would apply here. So if there's going to be a contract for coronavirus testing or for setting up more vaccination sites, and it's going to be competitively bid, we'd use the same process that we currently use if it were our state money. Now, I think people think we're getting all this federal money, we're off to the races. I think it's our job here to pay attention to this, to make sure we get our money's worth, and that we in the legislature pay far more attention and make it easier for us to pay far more attention to these expenditures, because we actually have a process in place to gather information. Mr. President, that's the amendment. I'd be happy to try and answer any questions.
Is there further discussion?